So for the next exercise we have is a quadruped hip cars. So what this is going to do, it's going to warm up the hips a little bit more, but really get into that joint, okay, the hip joint. The nice thing about this one as well is you will feel a little activation in the side of your glutes, which is going to help you for the walking challenge as well, okay? So what you're going to do, you're going to get into a quadruped position, so hands and knees on the ground. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to make sure that your back is nice and straight and that your core is strong, just to support that lower back, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to do this for 5 per side. You're going to bring your knee off the ground. Then you're going to externally rotate your legs. So rotate that knee outwards just like that, and then trying to get a nice circular motion in that hip joint. So knee comes off the ground, rotate outwards, then rotate back and down and bring it back to that neutral point, okay? So doing this is going to help really warm up that hip joint, but also, like I said, you're going to feel a little bit right in this muscle here. You might feel a little bit in the front of that hip as well. So what you're going to do when you're doing the motion, if you cannot get a very big kind of circular motion, that is completely fine. That just means that 1, you just might have to practice this movement, and 2, you just might not have the hip range of motion yet, and that's exactly why we're working on it. If you can get the full circular motion, then go for the circular motion as much as you can. But basically the goal for this is really just trying to warm up that hip joint the most you can and keep working on it. It'll get better and better every time that you practice it. So for this exercise, we're gonna actually be stretching out the hip flexor and our quad, okay? So this is really gonna help us because when we're walking, sometimes they get really tight, especially if we're sitting a lot. They tend to get super tight and maybe a little bit painful. And it's gonna restrict your range of motion when you're trying to walk or run. So this exercise is fantastic. I really like to have a thicker band because it's going to help get into that stretch a little bit deeper, okay? But if you feel like a thick band is too much, feel free to go to a lighter band. So how you're going to have a setup, you're going to loop it around a squat rack or anything that's heavy enough that is reliable. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the leg that you're stretching in the band, okay? Then that band is basically just going to go right underneath your bum. And then you can hold this just for stability. The further back you go, the more tension you're going to get. The other leg's going to come up, just kind of like a lunge position, okay? And then you're going to squeeze the bum on the side that you're stretching. And then you can slightly lean forward and you'll feel a nice deep stretch right through that hip flexor, okay? Then if you want to get into that stretch a little deeper and get a little more into the quads, you can hold this for stability and then just grab your foot. You don't have to grab it. You can even just lift it up, just depending on the range of motion and how much of a stretch you want, okay? So then you can just grab that foot just like that. And then you're going to get a nice deep stretch all the way through. You're going to hold this for 30 seconds and then switch sides. And then there is an option if you want to do it without a band. If you're at home and you don't have access to a band or something to wrap it around, there'll be an option for you as well. So if you don't have a band from the previous stretch, you can also just do it on a wall without a band. It's going to work just as efficiently, but it's just a different way to do it, okay? So what you can do is you have your foot and you're going to place it onto a wall just like that. And then you're going to bring that other leg forward. And then basically you're going to lean a little bit forward. And you're going to feel a nice stretch right in that hip, okay? You might also feel quite a bit into that quad. So right in that thigh right there. The closer you bring your body to that wall, just like that, whoop, then you're going to be able to get deeper into that stretch in the quad as well. And then just lightly leaning forward, it's going to help you. And squeezing your bum right here is going to help you activate that hip flexor a little, and get into that deeper stretch as well and get a deeper sensation through that quad. Then you're going to do 30 seconds on the other side, okay?